If you are hearing these words, it means that a movement has already begun inside you. Subtle, almost like a vibration, but genuinely important. It is not a loud breakthrough, not a flash of insight that you cannot fail to notice. It is a quiet inner shift, the kind that remains hidden for most people because they either do not know how to recognize it or ignore it, fearing change. And it is precisely because of this that their lives remain the same. Familiar, habitual, but not leading to what they truly want. Perhaps you are tired of waiting for change, tired of struggling, constantly hoping that someday, when everything falls into place, life will become easier, calmer, clearer. Perhaps you feel stuck between a past that no longer serves you and a future that has yet to manifest. And despite your efforts, real, honest efforts, it seems as if there is no movement forward. Yet inside you lives confidence, subtle, almost a whisper, but real. It tells you that you are made for more, that you are capable of more, that there is a version of your life and a version of yourself in which everything feels right and natural. But somehow, an invisible force seems to hold you back, preventing you from taking the decisive step. Now I will share an idea that can completely change your relationship with yourself, with life, with what you habitually call reality. This is not a magic formula and not a complex technique. It is an idea that does not require effort in the usual sense. Rather, on the contrary, it frees you from unnecessary tension. All you need to do is allow yourself to hear and feel it. Let it enter deeper than the level of logic. If you listen to the end, you will understand the main principle that triggers the line of life where events begin to unfold more easily, smoothly. That happiness, well-being, and harmony can only be earned through struggle, discipline, hard decisions, and self-overcoming. That valuable things can only be obtained through pain, effort, and persistence. Later, other teachings appeared, offering the opposite approach. Visualize, repeat affirmations, focus on your dream, and it will come on its own. But this is only part of the truth. The truth is deeper, quieter, and at the same time more powerful. Reality does not respond to effort alone. It responds to the state in which you spend most of your time. The state is the key. It is so simple that people pass it by, creating a complex path for themselves where it could have been easy and direct. We are already inside an immense energetic field, multi-layered, infinite, in which multiple versions of our lives exist. These versions are like parallel lines, all real, all accessible. And this field does not hear words. It does not analyze desires. It does not respond to tense striving, however sincere it may be. The field perceives only vibration, your inner state, what you emit unconsciously, a combination of habitual thoughts, hidden emotions, subconscious reactions. And this is where most people make mistakes. They try to attract what they want, but continue living in a state of lack and scarcity. They dream of the future, but hold on to past fears, letting them guide decisions. They repeat affirmations, but do not believe their own words. They strive for abundance, but emit anxiety, doubt, and distrust. Any action born from fear, in a quantum sense, becomes resistance. Not because fear is bad, but because the vibration of fear is incompatible with the vibration of the desired life. True mastery of reality does not begin with trying to achieve a result, not with struggle, not an attempt to force the world to give you what you want. It is a shift into the version of yourself who naturally lives the life you dream of. That version of you already exists. It is already real in one of the lines of your destiny. Imagine many radio stations, each broadcasting your possible life. They all play simultaneously, but you only hear the one whose frequency you are tuned to right now. And to hear a different music, it is not enough to demand it. It is not enough to hope for it. You need to switch the frequency, gently, internally, through your state. This is the quantum shift, not to change reality by force, but to recalibrate yourself so that the desired reality becomes a natural response. Most people get stuck on the frequency of fear. They may talk about dreams, plan the future, write down goals, but internally their attention constantly returns to what is missing. They focus on scarcity of money, time, love, or opportunities. Their gaze is directed toward emptiness, not toward possibility. They hold their attention on the past, on mistakes, failures, painful situations that once caused them harm. And even if externally they try to move forward, inside they expect the repetition of old patterns. And the quantum field reflects this back to them through the return of the same vibrations, not as punishment, not as rigidity, but with absolute precision, like a perfectly tuned mirror mechanism. Reality always returns what a person emits, even if it is emitted unconsciously. We are used to thinking that we must do more, harder, faster, that we must constantly prove something, overcome ourselves, struggle for every little thing. We were taught that effort is the path, effort is honor, effort is the condition for success. But if we recall the most amazing moments of our lives, we notice a different pattern. Those moments when everything fell perfectly into place. The right person appeared naturally. The door opened without effort. Coincidence became the decisive opportunity. Sudden insight came when we had long stopped looking for it. What unites these moments? We were calm. We stopped clinging. We were not trying to control what was happening. We allowed life to flow, as if accepting its natural rhythm. This is mastery of reality. Not loud, not tense, but quiet, background, natural. Mastery without struggle. The quantum field does not respond to words. It does not care what you say. It hears the energy behind the words. You can repeat, "I am rich, I am happy, I am loved" 1,000 times. But if inside there is anxiety, if the body is tense, if the heart vibrates with fear of loss, the words remain an empty shell. The field does not respond to thoughts separately from everything else. It reacts to an integrated signal, which consists of 3 streams simultaneously: what you think, what you feel, and how you act. When the mind, heart, and body are aligned, when you think one thing, feel the same, and act from the same energy, reality rearranges itself astonishingly fast, almost instantly. It may appear as coincidence or luck, but in truth, it is the precise alignment of your frequency with the appropriate line of events. But when the mind dreams, emotions fear, and the body lives in survival mode, the field reflects that inner chaos. The dream becomes an illusion, emotions become obstacles, actions chaotic. Everything is out of balance, and reality mirrors that imbalance with mathematical precision. This is the observer effect. What you focus on becomes your reality. But it is important to understand, the observer is not only your mind. The observer is also your subconscious, your deep programming, your automatic reactions that you may not even notice. You can consciously choose success, love, freedom, but if deep inside lies a program of fear, a program of expecting pain, a program of scarcity, The field hears precisely that. The subconscious controls most of your reactions, your habits, behavior patterns, how you respond to stress, money, intimacy, criticism. It is like an internal autopilot, accustomed to leading you along the same path. To change the route, it is not enough to simply want change. You need to change the state from which you live. Mastering reality is not a separate technique, not a one-time practice, not a tool you use only in difficult moments. It is a way of life, a way of existing, a constant inner choice. To live in the state of the observer, not in the state of struggle. In a state of trust, not in a state of fear. In a state of openness, not in a state of control. If you want abundance, learn to feel it before it manifests externally. If you want love, open your heart, even if it is afraid, gradually, carefully, but sincerely. If you want health, live in gratitude for your body now, not only when symptoms disappear. The practice of reality begins with a state. I am already in this line of life. Not someday, not once, but now. It is this state that synchronizes you with the branch of the future that already contains what you desire. Why is this so simple, yet almost no one does it? Because the mind is used to controlling everything. The mind fears letting go, fears trusting, fears the unknown. Since childhood, we have been taught, the harder you try, the more you get. That value comes only through effort. That you must earn it, prove yourself, overcome yourself. But energetic interaction works differently. Reality responds not to the weight of your effort, but to the purity of your state. Not to struggle, but to alignment. Not to tension, but to inner clarity and calm confidence. When you stop clinging to the result, when you loosen your grip, release attempts to control every detail, every step, every outcome, resistance begins to dissolve. And it is at this moment that what you desire starts moving toward you. Sometimes subtly, softly, sometimes brightly and unexpectedly, but always, much more easily than before. Most people want to master reality, but do it through anxiety. They do not notice that their inner signal is based not on trust, but on fear of losing what they do not yet have. Hence the habitual states. Checking the bank account every few hours, as if that would change anything. Waiting for a message from a partner and nervously running through dozens of scenarios. Analyzing every step to exhaustion. Doubting every choice, afraid of making a mistake. And even if externally they perform correct practices, meditations, affirmations, visualizations, the inner signal remains the same. They transmit not intention but fear. And energy does not lie. Never. If the body expects loss, if emotions are filled with distrust, if deep inside the person believes that good does not last, the field hears exactly that vibrational code. And reality, like a perfect mirror, continues to reflect scarcity. This is how people get stuck in the loop of repeating patterns. They sincerely want change, but they emit the frequency of their old self. They strive for something new, but vibrationally remain in the past. How do you break this loop? Not through a sudden leap, not through even more effort, not through desperate struggle. The way out is through recalibrating your state. Gently, not aggressively, gradually, but consistently. A recalibration that does not break, but redirects. The shift begins with simple attention practices available to anyone. One deep, conscious inhale in a moment of anxiety to bring yourself back into your body, into the present. Placing your hand on your heart to stop the mind and remember that you are alive, here and now. Asking yourself, What would the version of me that already has what I desire do? And allowing the answer to naturally surface. A small action from a state of trust, not fear, even if it is modest and barely noticeable. The field does not require you to be perfect. It does not need flawless thoughts, absolute positivity, or absence of doubt. It needs alignment, that your thoughts, emotions, and actions are pointed in the same direction at least most of the time. When a unified, whole signal arises inside, when you become the frequency of what you desire, not the frequency of fear, reality begins to restructure around you. Not always instantly, but inevitably. This is not a one-time practice. It is a daily state that you choose again and again. Every day you make a choice. Act from your old self or create a new one. Stay in familiar fear or shift to trust. Follow automatic reactions or choose awareness. Yes, there will be days of doubt. There will be moments when fear reminds you of itself. This is natural. But true strength is not in never falling, but in returning to balance each time. Even if you stumble for a moment, you can still return. And this return strengthens you, makes you stronger, clearer, calmer. True miracle begins when you stop being a prisoner of your old line of life. When you stop controlling life in every detail. When you choose trust instead of fear. Because at that moment, the universe begins to work with you, not against you. Then what once seemed miracles are not external magic. They are a reflection of your state. They are a natural response to the vibration you maintain. Take a breath, just a breath, and notice where your attention is right now. Are you tuned to the frequency of fear or the frequency of trust? To a line of scarcity or a line of abundance? Notice it without judgment, because it is in these moments of awareness, quiet, honest observation, that the point of choice arises. The opportunity to switch your frequency. Mastering reality is a path lived every day. It is not a set of techniques, not the number of meditations. It is a state, the state in which you can live, to which you can return again and again. And each time you choose a new frequency, the old reality finds it harder to hold you. It loses power over you. And then you begin to see miracles as a natural response of the universe to your new vibration. If these words resonated with you, if you felt light, calm, or support in them, subscribe and like. This will help spread this state further.